Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How do you do? Welcome to a new episode of The Night Show. Hello, Rasha, and welcome back. Well, you know, Rasha, your Eid vacation was absolutely a long one.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you for picking on me on air. But, well, you know, we did the show on Ramadan, and then there was the Eid, and then there was a sandstorm, and I'm very sensitive, but I needed that break. But you know what? I'm so excited to be back and to reach out again to our lovely audience.
Yes, Rasha, especially that today's episode is going to be a great one with our special guest, Her Majesty's Ambassador to the State of Kuwait, the British Ambassador, Belinda Lewis.
I love England, and I guess everyone did or wants to visit England.
Absolutely.
I don't know. I'm trying, though, but sometimes it goes Irish. I get mixed up.
Or Scottish, maybe.
Or Scottish, but, you know, I
Yes.
get lost on the way. From Big Ben and
Buckingham
Palace, Madame Tussauds.
Amazing.
Right?
Yes.
Tower Bridge, the Hyde Park, the red buses, the phone booth, the weather.
Whoa,
Please.
whoa. The weather's always great in London, except for winter and, you know, most of the year. But, you know, that was a nice quick tour, Rasha, for the best landmarks in London. Now, let's not forget the great art. It's the land of Shakespeare, after all. You know, James Bond, Mr. Bean, Harry Potter, Mary Poppins, Peaky Blinders also, and so many other great movies and TV shows, in addition to the great plays in the West End.
But hold your horses, gentlemen. I know you can go on and on since movies and TV shows is your thing. But how about we take a break and have a cup of tea with a lovely music band? And you guys also should have a cup of tea.
That will be amazing, and we'll be having Hassan on our band playing the intro music, which is going to be a special one tonight. Guys.
And here are some tips for plant lovers. 7 tips keeping your plants alive. First of all, get the right plant. Succulents don't need much care. Succulent is a special plant that doesn't need a lot of care and doesn't need a lot of water. You can make it. Number 2, let there be not too much light. Plants need different light levels. I kind of suggest you can Google your plant, put the picture in and Google it and check what kind of light does your plant need. Number 3, change is bad. Be consistent with your plants. So don't move your plant around the house because they say plants get really sad with change. Number 4, the plant chooses the pot. Choose the right pot for your plant. Some plants don't need big pots. Some need really right size so they can live happily ever after. Number 5, use the good dirt. Go to your store, a plant store, and ask them for good dirt for your plants. There's a lot of vitamins, there's a lot of special dirt for your plant. Number 6, cut the dead stuff. Every once in a while, give it a haircut, and your plant will love it. 7, don't ever overwater your plants. I know a lot of people get so emotional with their plants and they keep watering them. A lot of water can really kill your plants. So there you go. These are the 7 tips for plant lovers for today.
The United Kingdom, also called the UK, consists of a group of islands off the northwest coast of Europe. They include England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. The complexity of the geology of the United Kingdom brings about a spacious diversity of landscapes and the domain of habitats that serve as animal and plant life. For more than 500 years, the UK has been a dominant nation in trading. In the 19th century, British industry assisted in making the country the most influential country in the world. In addition, it still stands as one of the planet's most well-built economies. Sports and literature are among the United Kingdom's cultural claims to fame. Sports invented by the United Kingdom include soccer, rugby, cricket, boxing, and golf. And the UK has given birth to several amazing authors, which include William Shakespeare, Charles Dickens, J.K. Rowling, and Robert Burns. When visiting the UK, you are bound to visit their amazing tourist attractions, such as Harry Potter Tour of Warner Brothers Studio, the Stonehenge, Windsor Castle, cruises on the Thames River, Madame Tussauds, Downton Abbey Village. The UK is a gem of a nation to the world to visit, rich in culture, history, beauty, and entertainment.
Time for the highlight of our show for tonight. We all like visiting England, and it's such a great country and an important ally of the state of Kuwait.
True, Russia. And, the Kuwaiti-British relationship actually goes back to more than 120 years. And Kuwait has witnessed many ambassadors throughout these years. So we are honored tonight to have Her Majesty's Ambassador to the state of Kuwait, Her Excellency Belinda Lewis, joining us in the night show. Welcome.
To be here.
We're so happy to have you here and welcome Your Excellency to our show. As usual, we don't talk about politics, of course. It's just a small chit-chat to getting to know you personally more. So,
before we start the questions, and one more thing. I'm Ben, this is Russia. If you allow us, we're going to say...
I'm Belinda.
Belinda. Amazing. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, go ahead, Russia, please.
Well, I was just wanted to start by saying hello. You're welcome, Belinda. First of all, I would like to know, how long have you been here in Kuwait?
Oh, it's almost exactly a year. It's about a year and 10 days since I first arrived here.
Wow.
And what made you get into the civil service? Because we know, like, when you graduated, you worked for, in a bank for some time, but then you decided to pursue, like, the diplomacy. What made you do this shift?
Well, I think often it's hard for young people to know what path to follow and what the right career is for them. And I thought I would stay on and continue to study, and then I changed my mind about that. I became a banker. To be honest, it's because it was one of the very few graduate recruitment programs that I hadn't missed the deadline for. So I sort of fell into banking, learned a lot from it. I really enjoyed it. I got to work in Milan, which was amazing. I'm a big fan of Italy. And then I just thought, for the longer term, it wasn't what I wanted to do for the rest of my career. And if you're going to change, maybe change as soon as you realise that.
Yes.
So I joined the Home Civil Service, and I worked for different departments in the UK for about 10 years. And then I switched over to the diplomatic service. And I don't regret that. I think sometimes you start off in one direction, you have a different idea, and you pursue something else. And you can enjoy all of it.
And you got your master's degree in diplomacy.
I did, yes, from SOAS, University of London. Yeah, I think studying as an adult when you're working full time as well, it's a very different kind of discipline to when you're just sort of 18 or 19.
Yes,
and you think it's hard when you're 18 or 19, try doing it in your 30s when you are on maternity leave and then trying to look after a young baby.
Well, we're glad that you decided to join us here in Kuwait and become the ambassador of England to the state of Kuwait. Thank you.
That
I'm very
is
proud to be
true.
here.
Yes. You said something that's very interesting. It's too early sometimes to decide what you want for the rest of your life. As a child, did you know what you wanted to be, or it was just, as you say, it all fell together?
I didn't know.
Or you had a different dream, totally.
Well, if I'm honest, the first ambition I had when my mum had first asked me, what do you want to be when you grow up? I really wanted to be a horse. And then this was pointed out that this was really unachievable, no matter how good you are. I always liked animals, so I wanted to be a farmer, then I wanted to be a vet, then I wanted to be a doctor. So I kind of went down the science route and then just really missed the arts, missed history. So I ended up doing a history degree.
Wow, that's
and then
a big
sort of
shift.
wandered about throughout my career.
That's a big
Well,
shift.
we know you've been in the area for some time, like in different countries, maybe in the Middle East and so on.
Yeah.
But how do you find Kuwait, like the people, the culture, the Diwaniyas? Because I know also you visited some Diwaniyas in past Ramadan, and maybe the music and food and so on. Just give us maybe some idea.
Yeah, I think it's a very personal thing to do with my upbringing. One of the things that I really love about Kuwait is I can almost always see the sea. Wherever I am, I'm always a short drive away from the sea. I can see it from the balcony of my house. Often when I'm having meetings, you have amazing views of the coastline, driving across the bridge. I really like that. I like that connection with the sea, looking at the old boats, learning more about the pearl diving. And Kuwaiti shrimps, the prawns as well, and
Yes,
the zabadi. I like the
Zabadi.
fact that it's so fresh, and you know you can kind of picture where it's being fished
Yes.
out of the sea.
And you
So
have a great location for the embassy, like
I do.
just across the
I
road
know.
from the sea.
I know, I'm so lucky to live in that house and to call that my home for a few years. I keep telling my daughters how lucky they are, but I don't think they're too young to appreciate it, but I certainly do. So that's wonderful. I think you mentioned the Diwaniyas.
Yeah.
So that was really interesting for me. I know because of COVID, they haven't been held in the same way, and I'm really looking forward to them starting up properly again. But during Ramadan, I was able to go in and out of some of them. And you know, it is so nice just to sit down in a room of people, some of whom you've never met before.
Yeah.
Everyone puts their phones away, and you just sit down and you talk, and you just spend that time in conversation. It's like going back in time, the way that we used to get to know people.
true.
And people talk about all sorts of things,
Sure.
about sport, a lot of Premier League, a little bit about politics, about family, holiday destinations. And it's just really nice to have that old-fashioned art of conversation again.
That is amazing. Yes, we do miss that that thing. We also have a Diwaniya for women now, all
Yeah?
of us. Yeah, and it's really nice to meet people, and they're all easygoing. Let's say you had to choose a destination for you to visit personally, not for work, just for you to really would like to visit. You haven't visited before. Where would that destination be?
Do you mean in Kuwait?
No, around the world. Like
okay.
you would really love to visit that country or a place.
If you start to take a vacation.
Vacation.
Ooh, do you know, I would say probably somewhere like the Shetland Isles. But it's like going back to a really clean, pure, simple way of life
Great.
where the food is fresh, very green, you've got big skies, and you can just walk around, make your own food, and just be left alone in peace and quiet. I don't know what that says about me. Maybe it means I'm not very friendly or sociable, but I think being somewhere just in the middle of nowhere like that, really peaceful, I'd love to go on a trip there.
We all need, I think, that time of where you just want to sit
Decompression.
alone,
Yeah.
disconnect.
And away from the
Disconnect.
vacation and coming back to reality and being in Kuwait, I noticed, mashallah, you're so fit. So, and the Kuwaiti food is really like inviting, you know? And I know you love cooking. So how can you resist the Kuwaiti dishes? Like what are you doing? And have you learned any of maybe the Kuwaiti dishes?
So I've tried to sample as much food as I can because although I like fitness and I'm into staying healthy, I also really like food as well.
You look great.
Thank you. So I like to try things, but I don't always eat the entire dish, and that way I get to sample all the different flavors. But I'm a real baby when it comes to spice. I can't manage anything that's very hot. And people will say to me, "Oh, it's not spicy at all. Oh, a baby could eat it." And I'll try it and it'll blow my mouth off. So I always need milk or yogurt or something beside me. So some of the food I find a bit spicy, but generally Kuwaiti food it's not as spicy as, for example, when I was working in Pakistan. I found that really quite difficult. But I like the herbs, I like flavors, strong flavors, just not the heat. But yeah, I try to have a little taste of everything, but just not scoff the lot.
But you're a professional cook now and you just got a certificate, international one, right?
Oh, is this the Shenderota Sir?
Yes.
Well, I think it means that I'm a professional eater of food. I don't think it means that I have any skill or
Tasting the
capability
food,
to actually
yeah.
prepare it. Yeah, I'm really good at tasting it. If anyone wants me to come and taste their
Really?
food, I am there. I'm very good at it, yeah.
Okay, that's good.
The presentation of my food always lets me down. I'm okay at cooking fish. I quite like sort of one-pot meals, things that can't go too badly wrong.
Yeah.
I'm not good at baking. I'm not very good at pastry, but I'm excellent at sampling it, if anyone wants to use my services.
That would be a great job. I wanted to ask you, let's say I'm visiting England. Speaking of food, what would you tell me, like, you must try this dish?
Fish and chips.
Yeah.
Or
Famous one.
like something that we really is not really famous, but you really would like to promote. Like, you have to try this dish that not everybody know about.
Ooh. Well, so I don't know how well known Yorkshire puddings are. I'm a big fan of Yorkshire puddings. So it's made with the kind of batter, the
I
mixture
love puddings.
you would use for, it's not a sweet pudding though. It's the batter you would use for a pancake.
Okay.
But you cook it at a very high temperature in a really hot oven. And you turn it into basically like a cup. It looks like a cup, or you can make a big one so it's like a little dish.
Oh, okay.
And then you can put other food, savoury food, inside of that dish, or you put gravy on it and you would serve it alongside meat and potato and vegetables. That's really tasty.
Wow.
But I mean, there is always fish and chips, and it's cooked differently in different places,
Oh, okay.
different kinds of batter, different cuts. I quite like mine with a rice flour batter, so it's really light and crispy. But if you have it eaten out of paper and walking down the beach, you can't beat that. That's a lovely dish.
That's a
An
lovely
expert
dish.
cook. I'm going to bring you back to Kuwait, and we said
I'm
that
hungry now.
So am I.
we said that you got the chance to visit the douaniers, and like maybe you like to exercise and so on. Did you get the chance to do outdoor activities? And we just finished winter, so did you have the chance maybe to go to the desert of Kuwait, the camping thing?
Yeah, I did. I turned up really underprepared, thinking, well, it's quite cold. It's winter now. I don't need sunglasses. What a mistake that was, because the light is always really, really strong and bright, regardless of the temperature. So yeah, I got out into the desert. I've seen lots of camels, which I was really surprised at how dark they are. I just kind of imagine camels as being like a beige, sandy kind of colour, and they're almost black here. I've
Some
seen
of them albinos, maybe. I don't know if you got the chance to see this too.
No, not yet. I've been to an Arabian stud horse farm. That was really interesting.
You say you like horses.
Yeah, I do. I like animals. I had lots of dogs there as well. So my 4-year-old is pleading with me every bedtime routine. It always ends with, "Mammy, can I get a dog tomorrow?" And we just, with our lifestyle, it's not responsible, so we can't get a puppy for her yet. But yes, I've been out into the desert. I like walking along the Corniche, especially when the temperatures drop in the cool of the evening. One of the other places I like to walk is if you go to the aquarium, and when you go through the cafe, probably spend as much time in the cafe as I do in the aquarium, but there's also that lovely Discovery Science Museum for children. But if you go out to the back of that, there's a nice walkway where you're right beside the sea and the rocks fall away quite quickly. So if you're standing close to the edge, you can't even see the rocks. It just looks like water, and you've got a beautiful view, and you can see all the way out to other coastlines. So I do like to walk along there. You've got the trees on one side and the sea on the other side.
So I guess you love the sea. I can tell
I do.
that you love
I
this
find it very
ocean.
soothing. I find it really calming.
And as we said, like the location of the British Embassy is perfect for such a thing. But I also have a question. Everyone knows that the British Embassy has a great garden. Tell us about it. Not everyone got the chance to see it.
Well, it's beautiful. We have a lot of birds there. I think we have something like 78 or 79 different species of birds have
It's a
been
botanic
identified
garden.
in there. Yeah, we have a rare kind of owl that's only there for about 3 days a year on its migration route to Yemen, I think. So we've got lots of noise in the garden. It's actually quite noisy if you're sitting there at dusk. You can hear all this squawking because we have small parakeets, I think, there. So yeah, you can sit there and you can watch a lot of movement. We've got bats in the garden too. And one thing, which is a little known fact, I think, is that Colonel Dixon, who will be a very well-known figure to a lot of your viewers, his final resting place is in my garden.
Oh,
So his
I didn't know
actual
that.
grave is in the garden.
There's
which
still the
is-
Dickinson's house at the
Yes,
Gulf
which
Road.
is recently reopened,
Yeah.
on the Gulf Road, yeah. So Dixon is actually in the garden,
Interesting.
which is just, it's a little bit odd.
It is odd.
I also noticed something. You talked a lot about your kids and so on. My question is, like, as an ambassador, and as a woman ambassador, female ambassador, like how do you, have the time to take care of the kids and do your duty? Especially, the reason I'm saying so, because some time ago I saw your picture. You were holding your kid when you were visiting the cemetery, I think, for the
Yes.
Shakespeare's. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so that was my little one, my youngest daughter. So she was probably just about a year and a half when that picture was taken. She wasn't very well. She had a cold, so I had to keep her out of nursery. So if she's out of nursery, then you just, you can't let kiddie colds slow you down. You've just got to keep going and take the child with you. But I'm also very, very lucky to have an amazing husband who is really hands-on. Tony. So Tony looks after the kids usually
Yes.
if they're out of nursery. If I need to keep working, I can't take time off, then he just steps in. So I think, you need the other parent there to muck in, or you need your family support. If you're working full-time with a full-on job like this, and you've got a very young family, it's just hard. It's just exhausting. It's a really tiring job.
Yeah. You have to keep on moving and doing it.
It is,
Speaking
yeah.
of the girls, let's say you gathered after all this experience and it was years of experience in traveling. What's the one thing as an advice you would tell them? One thing about life, about their future. Like, girls, I want to tell you.
This.
Oh, that's a great question. I wish I'd known about that one in advance. I think the key thing would be, I would say to my daughters, look, girls, stay open-minded. Don't decide that something is going to be fun or good or bad, or that you're going to enjoy or you're not going to enjoy something. Give it a try.
And
sample
live your life
it.
as is.
Jump straight in. Meet people. Don't try and preconceive some idea about something or about a place. Just go there and experience it for yourself, and then make up your mind.
I
And
love
within
that.
this,
I'm going to use that with my kids.
Within this, women empowerment, I know like you're a big supporter of women empowerment here in Kuwait, and you've met a lot of the popular and the Kuwaiti activists here in Kuwait. Could you tell us about this part, please?
Yeah, I think, at heart, what I'm really interested in is talent and potential, and allowing everybody, regardless of their gender, to be able to fulfill their potential. And looking back in time at different educational opportunities that women have or haven't had, not having the same access to the workplace, not being able to get promotion and to be in leadership positions in the way that men have, it just makes me think about how many leaders, how many captains of industry, how many CEOs, how many professors has the world missed out on.
Yes.
And I think that's such a shame. So I think at the moment, in many areas, it is harder for women than it is for men. But I think it should just be about talent, good, hard-working people who are dedicated, who want to make a success of their lives and share their talents with others. Yes. Let them go ahead and do their utmost, regardless of their gender.
And more and more.
Believing they should have both equal chances in life.
Yes.
And may the best win.
And more here in Kuwait, women are actually holding higher positions. Now we have female judges and so on.
Yeah.
And I know very soon, like you in England, we have a female ambassador. Are you the first female ambassador, British ambassador in Kuwait?
I am. I'm the first female British ambassador anywhere
Great.
in GCC.
And before we wrap up, we have a couple of questions. One, if you were, like, let's shift roles. You are the anchor, we're the guests. What would you like to ask us?
Oh, okay. What's the worst thing any guest has ever done on your program?
Oh my God. We can't say that, can we?
Come on, you don't have to tell me who did it, just what happened.
Well, it's not the worst thing, but a very difficult guest is a person that is not really
put us in
willing.
the corner,
No, that's not really willing to talk. You'd be like, you'd ask a question, and one word answer is just very difficult.
Yeah.
It's an ongoing conversation. It's just a question and a one word answer, and you'd be like, that's it. Can I have more? That's kind of a difficult situation.
Your part, you usually have cool questions also.
Okay, if you were not an ambassador, what would you be?
Right now, what would you be?
Now.
With Tawny and the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'd probably be a lawyer. Actually, yeah.
So not a banker, not a horse, and not a farmer. It's totally different.
I think I'd be a lawyer when I've been working on legislation and a lot of
But
legislative
why?
negotiations.
Why lawyer?
It really appeals to the way I think. I used to do a lot of negotiations in Brussels when the UK was still in the European Union, and I loved that job where you look at the change that a comma or a semicolon can make, or you use one word instead of another, and it allows you to do something, or it stops someone from doing something. I like words. And I think law leads to either permission to do things or it prevents harm to other people. But you need to pick your words so carefully and really think about them. I like that.
So
I
for
also
our
like
last
arguing.
question, did we do a good job? I mean, the thing is that, did we miss something you wanted to talk about and we did not? You can ask us. I mean, or you ask yourself and answer it.
I think one thing that I would just like to mention is that this year is Her Majesty the Queen's Platinum Jubilee year.
Yes.
And it's the first time that any British monarch has ruled for 70 years.
Wow.
So that's really special.
Long
We've
live
got
the
lots
Queen.
of special things going on to mark that occasion. So just keep watching out, is what I would say, for lots of things coming out of the British Embassy in this special year.
Wow, we are looking forward, and it's a pleasure really to have you here today.
Thank you.
We don't want this to end, but for sure we're going to invite you for. I'm going to cook
With Tony and the kids.
Yes, I'm going to cook the Lebanese
You
cuisine.
might not want the children there. They're very noisy.
It's okay.
and
I have
messy.
children also,
Okay.
and they're so I'll be cooking the Lebanese food.
Oh,
I'm from
wonderful.
Lebanon, and
Uh-huh.
he'll be doing the Kuwaiti food.
Fantastic.
And you'll get a British dish. or
Mawash
something.
with the qusas bar.
Yes.
Wonderful.
It was a pleasure talking to you. One of the best guests.
Thank you, Belinda.
Easygoing. You made it easy for us, really. It's amazing having you here today, and
Thank
we'd
you.
hope to see you again soon.
Absolutely. I look forward to it.
Thank you so much.
You have a good one. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
So we're going to continue with our segments, but after we take a short break. But before we do that, we usually dedicate a song for our guests.
Oh.
What song would you like to hear from our band?
Ooh, well, I'm a big fan of Freddie Mercury, who I think is an amazing frontman.
I loved his
So
movie.
If we could have something from Queen.
Queen.
That would be wonderful.
We will
That'll
rock
do.
you. Band, do you know the song? You do?
They know
Go ahead.
everything.
Mashallah. Go ahead, guys. To our segment that we started next week, and it's called Kids Talk. With us is Abdullah. Welcome back, Abdullah.
Thank you for welcoming me.
Sure. You told me you're sleepy?
Yes, I am sleepy.
Well, do you want some coffee?
No, thanks.
Definitely not. Kids is
Yeah.
not, they're not supposed to have coffee.
I no coffee. That's the one that I drink.
I can get you a glass of milk.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, milk is okay, but I don't really want to drink right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because, like, you want to have good sleep. You don't want to have to use, Okay. Anyways, this is not our topic for today. Our topic for today is, how did you learn English?
How did I learn English?
Yeah. You speak very good English. How come?
From my nursery. I started with the ABCs, I was very good at Arabic back then, but and then I stopped focusing. Now I'm only good in English. so,
MashaAllah, MashaAllah. Do you watch a lot of TV and movies and this is why you learn more?
I don't watch movies or TV, actually.
What about your iPad?
My iPad, yes, I definitely use
Oh,
my
yeah.
iPad.
I mean, the new generation, they're always like, they're so stuck to their iPad. My question is, do you prefer speaking in British English or American English?
Well, British. I am in a British school, and I know British more than American, so yeah.
So you say, how do you do? And you don't say, how you doing?
I say how you doing sometimes, how do you do sometimes. I'm kind of in a half, but most of the times I'm just normal English.
Okay, so should I call you Master Abdullah?
What even is that?
Master is a little one. I mean, you know, a gentleman and a lady and so on. Okay, so since you said like you learned British English, the question is, do you know what the elevator is?
The elevator, yes.
What is that?
An elevator is like you press a button and then it opens. It lifts you up to a
Right.
place.
So what is the equivalent in British English? What do they call the elevator?
Elevator, I don't actually know.
Lift. You just said it.
Yeah, lift,
It's called the
lift,
lift.
yeah.
Okay. So do you like crackers or biscuits?
Crackers or I just say biscuits.
Biscuits because it's British. Crackers is American. Now, like if I'm gonna call you, would you give me a call or would you give me a ring?
A call.
A call. That's more American. Okay. So my question is, if you live in the ground floor, okay, the first floor.
Yeah.
So where is that? Like there's ground and first, or like first is like the first one?
Ground. The ground floor, I could call it.
The ground floor.
Yeah.
Okay, because
And
the
first floor.
right.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, that's fine. Now one more question. What is the definition of the word supercalifragilisticexpialidocious?
What?
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
I didn't learn about these.
Come
words.
on, this is an English word.
I don't learn these.
Mary
English.
Poppins. Have you watched the movie Mary Poppins?
No. I don't watch kids movies a lot.
You don't watch kids movies?
I only watch a little bit of them.
Well, we're running short of time today, but supercalifragilisticexpialidocious was a word that Mary Poppins used in the movie 1964 Mary Poppins, and again with Mary Poppins Return, and that was in 2018 with Emily Blunt. Okay. Well,
I have no idea how
I think you're really sleepy, so you have to go to sleep.
Yeah.
Okay, well, should I say good night?
Good night. Yeah.
Good night. Let's say good night to the viewers.
Okay. Good night.
We're not wrapping up. We still have more segments to come in the night show, so let's just take a quick break and continue. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Have a good one. Let's go. With our nostalgia segment, today we have some throwbacks that will have you feeling 80s nostalgic, because we will be having 5 things only people who lived in the 80s will remember. Things to, for those who actually grew up during the go-go 80s, it felt more significant, and the music that others find so cheesy still manages to bring a tear to our eye. And we remember the decades milestones like, they were the most important benchmarks in world history. hey, the 80s gave us, the civilization, maybe of the moonwalk, and also the fall of the Berlin Wall. And for all the significant things the 80s kids remember that other people seem to forget when dismissing this tubular decade.
Well, the first thing is Lady Diana becoming Princess Diana, the wedding between Prince Charles and Lady Diana in the summer of 1981 was more than just the spectacle of wealthy monarch getting hitched. At the time, some 750 million people across the globe watched what was widely described as a fairy tale wedding, one that influenced weddings for years to come. Even the biggest cynics couldn't help but get butterflies in their stomach after watching those loyal lovebirds finally say, I do. Well, the second is keeping your valuables in the fanny pack.
Oh my God.
When it came to financial security and fashion in the 80s, the kangaroo was everybody's role model. Yes. Fanny packs are utterly ridiculous, and yet it's hard not to love an accessory that makes things more accessible and keeps them safe.
And believe it or not, they are actually coming back now. But anyway, let's go for the third thing, that is wearing a Ray-Ban Wayfarers. Now, you got that hair slicked back and, those Wayfarers on, baby. When, the singer Don Henley from the Eagles band sang those immortal lines, and that was the 1984 hit, his song, The Boys of Summer. He wasn't making a random wardrobe choice. In the 80s, those Wayfarers were the only sunglasses that anyone hip or relevant world actually, they would, consider putting on. From the Blues Brothers to Tom Cruise and Top Gun, and also Madonna and Jack Nicholson. Everyone actually coveted those Wayfarers. Singers, we have Cody Hart, even wore his at the night of the 1984 song, although nobody, could understand why he was wearing them at night.
Well, the fourth thing is crafting a mixtape. In the 1980s, making a mixtape was an art. Remember that episode?
It was a disaster,
the episode
not just
where
an art.
Chandler said that he made her a mixtape. That wasn't his
Yes,
mixtape.
from
or
the Friends
Monica.
show.
Yeah, it wasn't like Spotify playlist of today, which you can add an unlimited number of songs to and throw together with just a few keystrokes. Rather, an 80s mixtape meant working with cassettes, which only provided a finite number of minutes for you to make a musical statement. What's more, you had to actually own physical copies of the music you were including. What a concept, right?
My goodness. Let's go for the fifth and the final thing for tonight, which is buying your first VCR. You know what I mean, right? By VCR, or maybe not, I don't know.
Yeah, I do.
You do, but I
Definitely.
don't think the new generation know. Well, I'm talking about the video cassette recorder. The VCRs, in fact, were already being sold in the late 70s, and however, the price tag on the machine back, when they were out, they could actually be so oppressive, ranging anywhere from $1,000 to $1,400. So it wasn't until the 80s that they became more maybe popular. Now, when prices dropped to far more reasonable prices, between $200 and $400, suddenly every household had their own VCR, including us. The only question was, did you want to keep your VHS or the Betamax?
I had
Now,
VHS. I had
not anymore.
Not anymore. I don't have anything.
Yeah. Well, there was only one right answer, but nobody knew that then. And this is actually going to be our topic next week. We're going to compare between the VCR and the Betamax in more details. The Beatles, George Michael, Adele, Phil Collins, Ed Sheeran, and also Henry Cavill, Anthony Hopkins, Charlie Chaplin, Tom Hardy, Emma Thompson, Emma Watson, and Kate Winslet,
And here we go again with our movie fanatic. Well, we got your point, Van. Those are all British superstars that added glamour to our lives. But I believe you have another movie show that you can talk in details about that. Now it's time for us to say farewell, and we'll see you next Friday.
Why farewell, Russia? You mean no? You mean till we meet again? Goodbye, y'all.
Good or ta-ta. Goodbye, y'all. Goodbye, y'all is not our episode today. Anyway, goodbye, everyone. And it's not British. Goodbye, y'all is kind of American. But see you next episode or next Friday. Have a great weekend.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.